Hello and welcome to today's video. So this time I'm going to be taking the first of two looks through my vintage Trilogo carded figures. Now I was lucky enough to be able to get a huge batch of my Trilogo collection in the late 1980s and I got them really cheap, so I'm very glad I never got rid of them. So anyway, that'll be the subject of today's video. So sit back, relax, and let's get to it. Okay then, so we'll start off with this one, which is absolutely fantastic. Trilogo figure, and this is obviously Han Solo in his Carbonite fatigues, as it were. This is him just after he's come out of Carbonite, really, isn't it? And this is always a really impressive figure back in the day because it felt like you were getting good value for money because you were getting a lot of plastic for your play value. That's how I always looked at it. And yeah, just such a great figure, isn't it, this one? This is one of the, I think probably one of the last ones I bought sort of to play with. And then because I didn't get many of the last sort of 17 figures to actually play as a kid, because I'd sort of outgrown it by then, and I was just sort of collecting them for display more than anything, rather than to actually play with. But really glad to get this one back later on, and in the late 80s, and it's not a bad example, this one. Tiny little bit of the bottom of the card missing there, which is a shame, but I mean it's still a really beautiful example. I'm certainly not going to complain at that one. I think he's really nice. So we'll just pop that over there. Now the next one we've got is Bossk. Now Bossk, of course, was one of the bounty hunters, and I got to say, every time I see this one now, I think of Bossk's Bounty, which is he's a fellow YouTuber, and he watches all my videos, and I watch most of his when I get the chance. And he, as well as collecting vintage, he does also keep his finger on the pulse with the brand new Star Wars figures that are being released. And yeah, do go and check out Bossk's Bounty because he's got a great channel. Anyway, yeah, this was certainly one of my favourite figures that got released back in the day, and I loved all the bounty hunters, but Bossk I particularly, he always looked really sort of evil, didn't he? Which I liked. So the next one we've got is Klaatu in his Skiff Guard outfit. Now I was never a massive fan of the aliens that were on the desert sail skiff. I mean, they are what they are, I suppose. They were you know, they were fed to the beast in the pit of Carcoon, weren't they? Most of them, anyway. Yeah, not a massive fan of that, but it is what it is, I suppose, isn't it? Unlike this one with Dengar, so he's a great figure, isn't he? Quite detailed. I mean, he always looked a bit of a mess, let's be honest. But the figure's all right, and this example's a nice example. There's a bit of peg wear, so where this one, by the looks of it, was hanging on the peg, waiting for some youngster to pick him up at some point. But yeah, quite a nice one. And it is lovely how the Trilogos, generally, the bubbles haven't yellowed too badly. It's just, compared to the Kenner ones, it's great, isn't it, you know? This is Lando in his general outfit. Need to get his gown down a little bit, but there he is. I always thought that this particular Lando was the best one that they released as a figure. I mean, he just looks absolutely fantastic. Yeah, great figure. I really like that particular Lando Calrissian. Next, we've got Teebo, one of the Ewoks. Now, as you know, I'm not a massive Ewok fan. I mean, I'm really not, but it is what it is, really. I mean, they're part of the Star Wars saga, and you know, they are what they are, really, and you can't have a collection of Star Wars memorabilia without having some Ewok stuff. I'm not massively against them. I think they have their place, but that's it, really. You know, I wouldn't want to expand on it, shall we say. So the poor old Rancor keeper, he had a bit of a bum deal, didn't he, when his Rancor got killed by Luke. Not a bad figure, this one. I have noticed, and I've remember this at the time, that I don't know if you can see it on the video, but his belly there has got like a bit of black paint on it. I'm sure that's not on all of them, and it's just something that happened in the factory. There's also a tiny little bit on his bald head there. So whether that's something to do with the painting process in the factory on that particular day, I don't know, but I think it might be. This is a nice figure. I think this is also one of the best Luke figures. I think the only one that beats it for me is Luke in his Stormtrooper outfit. But yeah, this is Luke in his Endor battle poncho. I always like these because there was quite a bit to it. I know he didn't have a removable helmet like the Leia did, but he did have the belt and the poncho and the gun, of course. For me, in Jedi, the biker scout scenes going through the forest like that were definitely the highlight, or one of the highlights of Jedi for me. Absolutely loved them. This is a great little figure. This is R2-D2 with his pop-up lightsaber. Now, when I had that great find back in the 80s, where I went into that shop in Plymouth and I bought a whole basket of Star Wars figures for just 29p, there was 3 R2-D2s, three of this particular figure in that basket. So obviously I bought the whole lot, and they were all a bit creased though, because they've just been literally loose in the bottom of a basket. So this one has got a bit of a crease along the edge there, but out of the 3 that I had, it was still the best one. So, you know, I'm definitely not complaining, because this has ended up being quite an expensive figure. I do remember there was a time when this figure was dirt cheap and no one really wanted it, and you could pick up a mint loose R2 lightsaber was going for about the same price as a carded one, which always seemed absolutely crazy to me. But it was a sign of just how scarce his lightsaber was, I guess, more than anything. Now, this is a great figure. This is the Hoth Imperial Stormtrooper. I always loved this figure. The only annoying thing when I had this one as a kid was that his like waistcoat always used to come off. But what a great figure this one is. You'll notice there's a little bit of tape residue from where the original sticker was on. So that's one that I'm going to need to get cleaned up before I potentially put that one in a GW Acrylic case. Speaking of which, whilst we admire Mr. Lobot here, I am going to be getting about 10 or so cases, probably early next month. I've got a couple of spares now, but I'll wait till we've got a really good batch, and then I'm going to take selected figures, the ones which you guys have picked out as being the ones that most deserve casing up, and we'll clean them as best I can, delicately clean them, and then we're going to put them into some nice GW acrylic cases. In the meantime, most of these are being stored in plastic star cases, which I really don't like, but it's all I've got to hand at the moment. Some of them are not in anything at all. So like this ATST driver is very, very dusty. You can almost see the dust coming off in my hands as I rub it. So that is another one. See, all of these really, I mean, this is a nice figure in actual fact. It's not a lot wrong with that at all. A really nice example of, not my favourite figure by any means, but certainly nothing really wrong with it. But it does need, well, it's in desperate need of a clean in actual fact. So that's one I better put on the list with my old cleaning gloves. Now this is a nice figure, this Han Solo. This is the original Han Solo. It's got his large head. The bubble's just about perfect. There may be a little bit of wear to it around the front, but a really nice flat card. Once again, and it might be hard to pick up here, is the very smallest like little sticker residue mark, but that's about it, and that could easily be cleaned up. So that is a beauty. Absolutely love that one. That's a great figure, isn't it? Another figure that I did enjoy, although he was an absolute swine to find loose when I was putting my loose set together, EV99, the old droid, and he's great. He's a really, really nice figure. Interestingly, this plastic bubble has just started to yellow a little bit, and I have a funny feeling that may be because this guy's bubble was, I believe, unique to the EV99 figure. It has, maybe it was they used different plastic or something like that, and that's caused the figure to yellow, or the bubble rather to yellow just a little bit. Unlike this particular droid here, which is R5-D4. Now he's fantastic. I absolutely love R5-D4, and just look how brilliant white he is under that bubble there. Fantastic. One thing I have noticed, I'm not sure if you can see this on the camera, but his sticker on the back side of R5 is just starting to come off just in the corner there, which is quite unusual, but it's certainly a beautiful figure nonetheless. And I think that's one I'm definitely going to acrylic up rather, just because I love him so much. It's a great figure. It's old 21B, so he was the medical droid in Empire Strikes Back, and another figure that I really enjoyed. Once again, if I was a focus collector, this would be one of the guys I think I'd focus on, because he's not overly expensive as a figure. There's not hundreds of variations. I don't know how many there are for 21B, maybe about 20 worldwide. I'm not exactly sure, but he would be one that I really like, and I never sort of get bored of 21B. So he might be a figure that I might consider doing in a focus. Here's another great one. It's IG-88, so yet another bounty hunter. Now, my version of this, I noticed, so at the bottom there, you can see there's some sticker residue, and I think I'm going to need to get some like sort of polish on that, or a little bit of lighter fluid, and very, very carefully dab that, just to try and get the little marks that are on the front of that bubble off, because it's not looking its best. Also, I've spotted that this is at one point historically is like a stain there, so I'm not sure what that is, but it's not something that can come off. It's not come through to the back, but it is one of those ones that's in a little bit of a state there. So we just got a couple more. Now, this is perhaps the biggest bubble in all Star Wars action figure land, and that's Amanaman. So thankfully, this isn't too bad a bubble. There's a little bit of wear on it, but I generally have had this one in a star case since I got hold of it, and he's not bad. He's not bad at all. Not perfect by any means, but as Star Wars figures go, I'm not going to complain, because he's not too bad. It's quite interesting. You see how his staff there is like bowed inside the bubble, and I'm not really not sure what's going on there, because my loose one's got quite a straight staff, so I don't know what causes the staffs to bubble inside. To bend rather inside. And the very last one we got to look at today is Luke Skywalker in his Bespin outfit. Really great figure, really good picture of Mark Hamill there as Luke. This one, yeah, I'd say he's perhaps a 9 out of 10. It's certainly not too bad a card, maybe an 8 out of 10. It's not pristine mint. I mean, it's been punched and that, and there is the slightest sort of dent in one corner there of the bubble, but on the whole he's a very, very nice example of what I believe to be one of the harder to get Trilogos. So yeah, I'm very, very pleased to get that. That was one of the ones I've had from back in the day. So there you go. So that's a look through this first batch of my Trilogo action figures, and they are really, really nice, aren't they? I certainly do enjoy the fact that the bubbles are so clear compared to the recent Kenner ones that we've been looking through. So I've got about this much again to come in another video looking at my Trilogos, and that'll be in a couple of weeks' time. Until then, if you have enjoyed this video, do please give it a thumbs up. Do consider subscribing for regular vintage Star Wars content, and I shall look forward to seeing you again very soon. Bye.